In this video, I show you the Care Pro 4 by Gardena, a health watch for her, for him, for all men. Let's go. Here we now have the Care Pro 4 from the brand Gardena, a health watch with a display of 1.43 inches with large AMOLED display. And yes, it is promised that you can create personalized dials. Uncomplicated operation. And the clock also helps or better motivates people to move a little. Yes, and the advantages of this watch are that you can send the health data to a doctor at any time with confidence via WhatsApp and Telegram, etc. PP. What the watch looks like now, let's take a look at it now. First of all, completely normal stitching packaging as you know it from Gardena with a bit of gold cold, so very noble. In any case, that's how we open the box now. And of course a magnetic charging cable is included, which means the watch is charged magnetically back here. Then of course a bit of reading, and of course the most important thing ever, the watch. We put the box on its side, and now look at how the watch is charged for the first time, which means, for example, you now take the charging cable here in your hand. We can now see it directly. It now attracts magnetically. And that would be all for now, which means that the watch would now theoretically be charged, and then you can of course pull it off again like that. Perfectly on the back there are of course various sensors in it, height, blood pressure, heart rate and so on. On the front we have the great display, as I said, with 1.43-inch AMOLED display here on the side. We have a crown which can be rotated but has no function. Then, let's see if you can see. Yes, there's a sign right here. If you want your heart rate to be better, you have to put your finger on it later. Then we'll look at it later. And here we have a button that is occupied for a quick function on the other side. We know nothing, and the whole watch is definitely solid. It definitely looks very, very good visually. It's definitely a stainless steel case. The glass also feels very homogeneous. Everything works very well, as you can see. So touch everything, no problem. We can now go into the watch, and of course I'll show you how to connect the watch to the cell phone. Yes, and now let's look at all this a little more closely. We now have the dial here. We can change that at any time by holding our finger on it here. Then this is marked, and you can swipe from left to right or right to left, and you get different dials here. By the way, of course, you also have the option to upload other dials from the watch in the Play Store, i.e. in the app. So there is something for everyone. So we click on the crown here, the watch is off. We click on the crown, watch is on. We swipe from top to bottom. Then we have the quick function. That means making a phone call. You can change the brightness. Click here, then you can hear. Change the brightness, but we have to reduce it now, otherwise you won't see anything here. So back again, then we have the settings. In settings we still have the health settings. We can also say in the display how long the screen should stay on, which means here we now have 60 seconds for the video. The menu stick you can change, and always on or always off. Always on is of course not that great, because then the clock will turn on. Empty, very quickly. We swipe from left to right. Then we have a quick guide here again. We can just let it run like that. Or from right to left, we now have the keyboard. Because here we can, theoretically, if we have the telephone number of a friend or relative in mind, dial right here. And you could make a phone call. Then we still have the option of storing contacts here. That is in an emergency. If you fall or something else, you can then set up an emergency contact, but that doesn't work in the watch, but in the cell phone app. Then this is displayed here, for example, emergency, mom, dad, and then you can tap on it, and then a call is made. Then we still have a history, so we can then observe who you have already called. So who you have already called, my God, German language, difficult language from bottom to top. If we do now, we have the messages. That is, if you activate WhatsApp or Telegram or I don't know, all the things that exist like that, Amazon, etc., then every time that person sends a message, you get a message here. You can read it, but you can't answer it. So let's press the lower button now. Then we will go to the Health Manager in good German. And we now have the heart rate here. Let's start it now and be quiet for a moment. By the way, if it hasn't happened yet, you can now use the time to subscribe to the channel and a thumbs up or down. You see here the heart turns and 87 beats, 89 beats, everything paletti. So, let's go back to the other function, and that is blood. If we had oxygen here, we put it on, and as you can see, a bar goes away here, which means that long would be the perfect measurement. So as soon as we have the first data, that's actually enough for us. Now 99% blood oxygen is also okay. Then we have an EKG. ECG is also important because here you would have to put your finger on the side here. Let's put a sign on it. You have to put your finger on it and just wait a bit. So, and now there comes a sinusoidal curve, and at the top you can of course already see the heart rate 89 and so on, and immediately we also have the bottom. As you can see, the bar that is already filling, this is the time when the measurements are made, so it should be over right now, and exactly now, so exactly. And then we have here that we have no risk, medium risk, high risk, we would then have here. But as I said, it's a health watch. It doesn't replace a doctor or pharmacy or anything else. So you can't rely on it 100% now. These are only light values. That means if you do something, you feel a little bad, a little floppy, a little dizzy, and then you take the test with the watch. Yes, and the values don't really suit your well-being, then definitely go straight to the doctor. That's what the watches are made for. For example, if you're running now and you somehow notice you're getting dizzy or something, you can check back very briefly, and when the clock says yes, that's not that great. Yes, you should go to the doctor again. So here's what we have here. Body, what body? What is a board? Like, it doesn't matter. So he knows something here now. So we have to put our fingers on it. Body together, body composition. Okay, sounds a bit strange. Okay, then fat percentage, BMI and body fat could work because there are also the completely normal body cars, which also measure the plus of water in the body, and you can crystallize that out. How much fat is in the body and how much water and so on could work. Okay, 29 BMI. I don't think so now because I'm a little bit thicker. We would still have that kind of activity here. It also means that you can see how much you have walked. Here's a way back. Then we have the sleep tracker, which is also very interesting. You can leave the clock on overnight. The next day you can check on your cell phone how many minutes, how many hours you slept well, which sleep cycle and so on, also very interesting. Pressure, blood pressure, pressure like that. We now have blood pressure, of course, a bit difficult with a watch like this. Some of it works well, some of it not so well, but as I said, these are all just guideline values. You can follow them, you don't have to, but it's not, or you shouldn't, let's put it that way. We'll wait for it now. Let's see what the clock tells us right now. And as you can see, we also have a bar that reduces. That's the time, how long the clock takes to get the complete measurement result. And that's now 126 to 84. Yes, that could fit. Of course, we also have body temperature, as if you're a little fibrous or something like that, or just want to measure it like that. This is not a problem for a watch like this. Almost every clock can do that these days. It should normally be around 36 or something like that, although today it's a little cooler. 35.4, yes. Skin 28.4 fits well, so it's cooler on the skin. Then of course we have breathing exercises here, which we can do if we want to do a breathing exercise like that somehow in between. Then of course the phone, which we already had earlier, contacts, etc. pp. But that's what my apps are like. Of course we would also have music layers. That means we can then start here and then the music comes out of the cell phone. But copyright wise I can't do that now. What do we have? If we still have a stopwatch, we would still have weather. Means we now see the weather here, currently sunny 10 degrees. We swipe from top to bottom, from bottom to top. We then see the hourly weather events or daily weather events, i.e. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yes, and that's it. Then we still have the stopwatch function, timer function. A weather torch, okay, sounds a bit strange. Torch is nothing other than a flashlight, which means you can then make a little light here. Stopwatch, timer and flashlight are available. Yes, flashlight is the torch function mentioned here.
At the moment it is cloudless, and it is 11 degrees in Cologne. Temperatures will be free from 12 to 7 degrees at night.
How tall is the Cologne Cathedral?
Cologne Cathedral is a Roman Catholic church in Cologne, Germany, under the patronage of Apus.
Games aren't the focus here. This one is called folding flooring but doesn't play smoothly. There are more settings to explore.
You can somehow ask for directions and so on and immediately. So this is all pretty cool stuff here, especially for older people. Yes, we have games this time too, but the other watches didn't have it yet. I'm excited about it now. Okay, we have no idea what this is called here, how it works now, but I didn't have any idea. Okay, restart 2, yes, no idea, good man. I don't really want to play, but we'll try it now. Okay, that's called folding flooring or something like that. Okay, again. Well, that doesn't work like that. Not so cool. Definitely good. It's not a game console either. We still have settings. We've already talked about it. Of course, you can also change the language. We are now here in German. We can do it in, I think, Polish, French, Portuguese, España, Italian, Chinese, English, no idea. So then, what else do we have in terms of settings? QR code correct and important. You can scan the QR code directly with your cell phone. Then it will go to the Play Store or the App Store of Android.
And you can then download the app and you can set various things in the app, and we'll look at that now. Of course, there are also different bracelets, as you can see, one's in plastic, artificial leather, and also link bracelets, which of course also look really nice. Especially for the watch, I would then take the black link tape measure, so link bracelet, but as I said, there are a lot of different ones. Bracelets to buy. Of course, there are some already, but they are chosen randomly. Yes, everything is 22 millimeters, so perfect just to protect the watch. Of course, there is also bulletproof glass, which you can buy with it. Now that we have downloaded the app, we come to a home screen, and of course we have to connect the watch first. We do this in the sense that we make sure that we are on the home page, and then we haven't connected the red bar. We tap it here once. And then we'll see the clock right up here. Also the signal strength, how far away the clock is. So then let's tap it briefly here, and that was S. The data is now synchronized. You can see that up here we are 33% now. Takes a few seconds. Synchronization completed. And now we already have the data that we measured earlier directly. Which means we have the heart rate here. We have the blood pressure here. So everything is already visible if you see it a little brighter, whether you see a little more. Well, we tend to go a little darker like that. Then we can go to the blood pressure, for example. And then we see exactly at 2:50 p.m. blood pressure, blood club, 2:30 p.m. blood pressure, the 2:20 p.m. blood pressure, like that. And if we now say, okay, we don't like the blood pressure at all, we don't know if it's good, we can go to the tab up here with the funny symbol and say share. That means we can now share it via WhatsApp, via email, and so on, and immediately. And then the person who got it can say, yes, you better come over, or no. The same could do with all kinds of things here. For example, here with ECG, we go for ECG here. Then we have the opportunity to see again, and we can also from here, of course, you have to wear the watch on your wrist, also start the ECG here, so you don't necessarily always have to do it on the watch. We also have body temperature here, maximum, minimum, middle. The time from 14:30 to 15 noon was also made, which means you can also go up here again to parts and show a relative, acquaintance, doctor, and so on. And we can of course go to the calendar here and say, for example, we would have had the clock on a little longer now. Then let's look at the first one. What was the blood pressure on the first? Or what was the blood pressure, temperature on the 1st or 6th? Of course, this also works with blood pressure. Logically, yes, the watch can't measure blood sugar in that sense, but as I said, that depends on it, because the watch collects data and that results in a uric acid value and a blood sugar value, so yes. Then we have the function. Wait, we'll go in here first, we'll go to more in the gear, and then we have the opportunity to activate notifications, which means we can now activate various notifications here, which means if the topic now writes to us via Facebook, then we'll go here, but we'll get the message directly on the clock here, Facebook, blah, 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 or WhatsApp. We can also do Instagram and so on, and immediately, and if you want peace, just leave it out. So here you can of course also start the way giving function. So then you would have to go to a plus at the top here. Then it says which days of the week you want to be awakened. What times can you specify differently every single day? No problem at all. Then the heart rate, we can make an alarm, which means you can set it so that with a heart rate of no idea what 70 euro alarm sounds. And yes, then you then have the opportunity to react. Dials. We were like that before, but I'll show you the store now. Because there are other dials here. Because she says, no, I don't like that. What's now on the watch by default? There is the store for dials. And as I said, there is a lot of everything here. We'll assume that you want this dial now. Then we'll go here. Adjust the dial so that you feel very like it now. Takes a few seconds. You'll see the watch reacts. So that takes a few seconds. Yes, the 2 minutes that says here is a bit exaggerated. It goes much, much faster. As you can see, Zach is done. And you now have the new dial on it. So we'll go back and look for the device again. Which means if you've lost the watch, you tap on it here. Something should actually happen now. Yes, yes. This means that the clock then makes noises. So then we have favorites contact here. That's what I told you. If you have health problems or not, it doesn't matter. You don't have to take it for health problems. You can also wear the watch if you are, for example, a woman or jogging. And nowadays everything is expressed a bit carefully, i.e. a bit strange, and you need help somehow. Then of course you can add one now, i.e. you now have to allow a contact here. We don't allow that now because otherwise you will see my contacts. And then you say, for example, here comes the telephone book, and then you say, for example, contact mom, contact dad, contact police, etc. PP. Then you can then use the watch, which means you have to always have the cell phone with you, but the cell phone in your pocket, you have the watch on, and then you can immediately call the contact via the watch and also use the watch to make a phone call directly, i.e. talk directly in. Yeah, what else do we have? We can set the weather again to Celsius or the American system. What was the other Fahrenheit exactly called? We don't need it either. We can do the factory reset here. If you want to sell the watch, or simply if you want to reset the watch like this without all data disappearing, we can just go to reset. Yes, then we still have the option to activate screen time. 60 seconds or more or less. So 60 is already a maximum. So if, then at most less so, we go back again. And yes, what else is there to say about the clock here? So there is nothing more to see here. Advanced settings. Or yes, well, we can still create different profiles here. Knowledge. You can activate scientific sleep. Automatic temperature monitoring means that the watch is then continuously monitoring your temperature and blood sugar. So yes, we'll briefly go back to the sports function. In the sports function, we can of course say, we want to do sports now. We can also choose a sport. Of course, we now have the opportunity to do sports, which means if you now want to jog or run, the profile will start here.
And then you also have the Google Maps map right here. And then you go to start. And then you can see directly down here what pace is running here, how many kilometers, calories burned, and so on. And it's immediately so clear. It's not optimal now because the clock is now here. You would have to try realistically whether it fits that way, and
then we can go on our own. Then we can look at the clock again. We can also see the charging status of the clock. You can set sports goals, how much you want to do, sleep steps during the day. You can then also see how many hours of sleep you need. She said 6 hours of sleep or 7 hours of sleep are enough for me, and then the data will be evaluated accordingly. Units is logical. You can also set it here again with metric kilometers and so on, and immediately. So app style, we can also change it if we want. We now have a green style here as standard. So you see here, this then becomes blue and the other then is green. So that's nothing earth-shattering. Yes, you can also log in here. That means you don't have to. You can also log in here and you will then have the data stored locally somewhere on the
server or something. I don't know exactly. I'd have to try it out because I'm not the type who logs in with God and the world everywhere because data is money. That means we just have to go back up here now, confirm without registration, skip, then we'll have your clock in, type again, connect like this. Now the clock is connected again, either synchronized and
then it should have been that again. So then we can go yesterday. The day before yesterday we can go. Of course, we don't have that much data yet because I haven't worn the watch for days. Module managers, of course, we can still go. We can also say we're not interested in sleep. Then we can go here. Then we can delete it. Let's do it for fun. And you can also say at any time, I'm interested in sleep. Then we can put it in. Yes. And then the check mark successfully saved at the top. That's it. Yes. I hope the video was helpful and entertaining for you. If you are looking for a health watch, then feel free to take a look at Gardena, link below in the description. Below in the description, you will also find the link to the app. If you don't want to scan the QR code here, or by the way, the QR code is also in the instructions, but if it is complicated for you, as I said below in the description, the link is first to the watch and secondly, for the app, for Android and for iOS, just click on it. So go with your cell phone in good German to the channel where the video can be seen and go to the description at the bottom. And in the description, you then click on the link for the app and then the cell phone automatically goes to the Play Store and you can then download the app there. Yes, hope the video was interesting for you. Helpful, subscribe to the channel and ciao, until next time.